created some wetlands in the northeast corner of the property. We removed some townhome units because they were in very close proximity to that, so we pulled those out of that area. And from our public outreach meeting, one of the main concerns was there's some shared alleyways, Rear Lane and Pickwick Lane, that we'll be sharing with the existing residents, that the residents that are not in good condition and are narrower than probably originally planned. So we've met with them. We have already agreed to repave after we build our homes on that shared alley, repave it, and then widen it to 20 feet, which is, I think, what the original approval was for. So. And as always, traffic was a concern as well. So what we did is we did a contract with Fleece and Vanderbrink. They did a traffic impact assessment last year. We provided a copy to Steve. I mean, in summary, they basically said that the adjacent roadway system can handle the traffic. Their recommendation was for southbound M40 at Main Street to stripe it as a right turn lane. If you've driven it, it kind of functions as a right turn lane anyway. It's a very wide shoulder. But we'll work with MDOT and the city to get that physically striped as a right turn lane through construction process. So what I did on the next slide is just provide a really generalized summary of land use changes from the 2003 approved PUD to our proposed PUD amendment. As far as the number of units, the original Homestead Village PUD on this section, this 48.82 acres, had 338 units originally proposed. We're down to 183, so that's a reduction of about 155 units. You'll see when I get into the types of the units where that reduction occurred, but it really occurred with the elimination of the apartments that were previously planned there. So the form of development pretty much stays the same. They were originally proposing a site condominium subdivision for the single-family detached homes and a traditional condominium for the attached townhomes, and then they had apartments as well. We're doing very similar: site condominium subdivision for the single-family detached homes, traditional condominium for the attached townhomes. From a unit change standpoint, we saw where we really flipped the switch here was on single-family detached. There was originally 44 single-family detached planned on this property. We bumped that up to 142. Some reductions in the attached 2, 3, 4 unit buildings as well. And then where the real change came was on the apartment units. There was originally 166 apartment units planned on this property. We reduced that to 0. We're not doing any apartments. So, and then without getting into the details, the minimum lot sizes I just put up there for comparison, but we're very, very close in lot sizes. Most of our lots are larger than what was previously approved. There's 41 of them that are slightly smaller. Okay, this is just an overview of the Kensington, what we're calling Kensington West, on this 48.82 acres. 183 total units, 142 of them are single-family detached, and a breakdown of that, there's 42 that are the rear alley-loaded product, and then there's 100 of them that are our standard front-load product. Attached townhomes, we have 41 total units. Those are in 2, 3, and 4 unit building arrangements. The majority of those 36 are the rear-loaded product. There is 5 of them that are front-loaded. I know open space preservation was a big topic, and amenities and so forth. This total portion of the property has over 52% open space provided, about 25, just a little bit under 26 total acres. The slide I have up now is just a blow-up of the central open space area. I think this was a topic of the Planning Commission discussion during one of the study sessions, but what we did here is we enlarged some of these interconnected open space corridors. We provided a community playground area there. We have sidewalk, we'll put benches, it's nicely landscaped, and it's all interconnected, and then all those homes that are pretty much in the brown shading face inward toward those courtyards, so you have a nice feel there, and that winds through the eastern portion of the property. All of that is going to happen in phase 1 of the project. The other open space area, which is probably the larger natural preservation areas in the north and northwest portion of the property. So this is, some of you may be aware, there was a wetland conservation easement that was agreed upon between SJR and MDEQ back in 2006. So this is the preservation area. It's a little over 17 acres that's protected as wetland conservation. We obviously redelineated that. The lines changed slightly, but we're outside of all the wetland delineation areas. In that southern area where you see the number 4, that's going to be where the stormwater management area is there. And what we're going to do is we're proposing, you may see it, it's labeled as item 6 on this blow up, but that's going to be a natural mode path that we're going to put through there to allow for people to come off the sidewalk along Winchester and kind of walk along the southern side of that wetland preservation area. So it'll be a nice, provide some nice scenic views for people, kind of a different open space amenity than the centralized area. But it should be a nice feature for the residents. And just briefly to talk about the home product, again, I know you guys talked a lot about this at the previous work study sessions, which I was not here on, but the single-family detached home, this is a rendering of our single-family front-loaded standard product here. This is the majority of the home product we're doing. This is a single-family home front-end. There's 3 different home styles we're doing, ranging between 1,800 square feet and just under 2,100 square feet. They're 2-story and raised ranch homes, 3 to 5 bedrooms, 2 to 3 bathrooms, and each of them will have an attached 2-stall garage. Just looking at the individuals, that's our raised ranch. It's an 1,800 square foot raised ranch with 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. This is a 1,910 square foot 2-story. See, this one has 4 bedrooms. We have 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, also with a 2-car attached garage. And then this last one here is a 2000, what we call a 2085, which is a 2,085 square foot 2-story, 4 to 5 bedrooms on that one, 2.5 baths, also with an attached 2-stall garage. The other single-family product that we're doing is more of a rear alley-loaded product. These are going to be 2-story homes, roughly 1,640 square footage, 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and they will have an attached 2-car garage as well in the rear of the home. Most of the attached townhome product will also be rear-loaded like that, so that will be the view along either the street or the interior courtyard. Those will be 2 stories, 1,450 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, also with the 2-stall attached garage in the back. And then the last home product is our front-loaded townhomes. We don't have much of this. We have a 3-unit building and a 2-unit building. So that rendering is of a 4-unit building. If you just take one of those interior units out, that's what the 3-unit will be. And then if you take both of them out, the 2 end ones squished together, that's what the 2-unit will be. But that one, if you're the middle unit, we have one middle unit that's going to have a 1-stall garage. So that the end units will have 2-stall garage. Mm-hmm. That one interior unit will have a 1-car attached garage. So that's kind of a summary of the overall project. We do greatly appreciate your consideration and all the work that Steve and his staff has put into this. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? No? Yeah.
Just briefly, why the deletion of the apartments?
I think the primary reason, we don't typically do apartments. Our bread and butter is single-family homes. We think there's a strong demand for that. There's already the Black River Flats apartments there on the east side. One of the we got a lot of comments from the developer workshop meeting with the residents, and one of the positive ones was the elimination of the apartments. With the Black River, we think it's a nice mixture here, but our bread and butter is single-family detached, so we think that's where we're going to do best in.
Mm-hmm. Can you point out where you eliminated the condos? You had some condos that you were going to put in, but then you realized
yes,
it was a protected wetland area, or?
So I don't know. I can't really point on this. Steve, can you point with anything on that? But it's in the upper right-hand corner. So if you look where Pickwood, where Pickwood is, I think it's called
the very top.
Very top on the far right
Okay.
of Pickwood. There used to be some townhome units there. Now there's just a 2-unit building and then an off-street parking area.
Okay.
But that wetland, yeah, I think when we were last with you, there were some units fronting Pickwick
Okay.
Lane there.
Okay.
Any idea of the price point for these detached homes and the condos?
Yeah, I might defer to Tom. Tom's more familiar with the pricing on these units. Tom Larabell's our Vice President of Land.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Tom Larabelle with Allen Edward Homes. Good question. We talked a little bit about that at one of the work sessions, and so I grabbed my notes just in case that question came up. On the townhomes, our hope is to bring those in around $300,000. Now, that's under current market conditions and a lot of assumptions to get there. It also combined with some of the incentives we're approaching for this project. And so our goal is to get that there. I can't make a promise on that because we don't know where the market's going to be by the time we build those a year and a half from now. But in today's conditions, that's our target. What I did is did a quick calculation as well on a mortgage payment on a $300,000 townhome with 5% down, assuming just making some of the typical assumptions, a 30-year mortgage, 6.5% on that against interest against that mortgage. It's a payment of $2,388 per month. That includes assuming homestead taxes as well as insurance included with that, property taxes all in. What we'd like to do on some of the townhomes, and we've talked about some rental product, is we believe we can bring some townhomes down as a rental product around $2,000 a month. So what that does is give you even a better deal. You don't have down payment, and your affordability goes up tremendously. So that's kind of what we're toying with. Hope that helps answer the question on price point.
Thank you.
Quick question. So there is a mix of some rentals and some owned properties, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you know how many rentals you're projecting?
We're currently in negotiations with the Economic Development Group for what that would look like in terms of what, how many we could rent, how many are our ownership. But, right now it's kind of in the 50-50 mark. So.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Ellen Edwin does rental properties.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Allen Edward has a company called Copper Bay, and
Okay.
Copper Bay has built and managed over 1,300 rentals for 8 or 9 years now.
Okay.
So it's a affiliated company.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? No? I appreciate the variety of housing. I think that's a positive. You're going to get different types of people that way, and families, or single family, or solo persons with the single garage. I think that's a positive. The open space is good, and the connection between the blocks I think is really important. Otherwise they will be cut off from each other. Sidewalks are important. Kids use them. Parents want them. Yes. But anyone else? No? All right. Thank you very much. At this time, I will open a public hearing unless, wait, Steve, do you need to add anything?
Can I add just a few
Oh, I
things?
guess.
Thank you. So just a couple other things to hit, and I'll try not to repeat anything, but a couple other things in the plan that I guess I wanted to highlight. One of the things that did change from the original approval, this North Kensington Drive, if you remember, one of the plans was that would eventually extend north. And with the large industrial development that has occurred since the original plan was approved, and now, the plan now is to cul-de-sac that road. So that's what you do see on the plan. So that is a change from the original approval. One of the things that's changed somewhat, the stub streets. If you remember, we've talked a little bit about that during the study sessions. These stub streets at the southwest corner of the site, those are still in the plan. So that hasn't changed. There was a stub street in that original layout that it was in this mid-block area, so that isn't in there. There is also another stub street in sort of the built portion of the project. It's not what we're really talking about tonight, but I wanted to point out those couple other things that were a little bit different. Again, one of the things I think is probably worth repeating is this is an approved project. They are simply asking to make some what we define as major changes, so that's why it's coming back to you. Obviously, they could proceed with the original approved project, but they want to make these changes, so that's why it's here. So those are a couple of the changes that are happening. You also have in your packet the PUD resolution that really puts into words the approval that you're granting. So you do have that document as well. The changes that are being made are really to reflect the proposal that you see. Those changes are in red in your packet, so if you wondered why there was the color coding in there, those are the changes that result with the newer plan. A couple of the things that are in that document that I thought were just kind of worth pointing out. They've already talked about this sort of open space park-like area in the northwest corner. The original PUD talked about needing to decide whether or not that was going to be public or private park. And we did have the Parks Department take a look at this. They have said this would work much better as a private facility, so that's what that is moving forward with. One of the original requirements in the PUD was that there was a minimum of 40% single-family duplex mix of the housing in there. The proposal that you have now puts that at 55%, so they're certainly well above hitting that mark. So I thought I would point that out as a result of these changes, that were occurring as well. So again, amendment to the PUD, you're being asked to review and approve the amended plan, and what comes along with that is that PUD resolution as well, which is the staff recommendation.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Anyone have questions for staff? No? All right. Now at this time, I will open a public hearing. Anyone that would like to speak to this item on the agenda can come forward. You will address us, not the applicant, and you will have up to 5 minutes to speak. We can't engage in conversation or answer questions at this time. If there is something that the staff would be able to answer for you, that would be an option for later. All right. At this time, you can come forward on this item. No? Okay. I will close the public hearing. Any comments, discussion, or motions?
I move that we approve the site plan for the Kensington West PUD changes with the comments and conditions noted in the staff report, and that I also move that we approve the amended PUD resolution as presented.
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? None. All right. Thanks for coming in and for your presentation. Yes. Next item, Doors of Hope rezoned to PUD and site plan review for 8 dwelling units for a mixed-use affordable housing project. 702 East 8th Street, 209 Waverly Road, and 213 Waverly Road. Is the applicant here to come forward? Who gets to come up, right?
Gosh, I didn't know I was first. Awesome.
State your
I'm
name.
Terry Caldwell. I'm the Executive Director of Doors of Hope. I'd also like to acknowledge that we have Robert and Margaret Ankerman here, who are the current owners of the property in support of our proposal. And then also Anna Mosley, who is from Central Avenue CRC. They are the church that has gifted us with the funds to purchase the property if we get the proposal approved. So I'm just going to tell you a little history of Doors of Hope and what has brought us to where we're at right now, and then I'll have Scott come up and talk more about the particular project. So Doors of Hope has been serving our community for over 18 years. We are a ministry of City on a Hill in Zeeland, and we fall under their 501c3. Our funding sources are 42 church partners, individual donors, businesses, and fundraisers. The primary population that we are serving is the Alice population, those living one crisis away from homelessness and poverty. Our mission is to encourage individuals and families to achieve lasting independence by building meaningful relationships and helping to identify and break the cycles of generational poverty and crisis living. We want to see our clients set free from having to depend on agencies, if possible, to get by. At Doors of Hope, we have shifted our programs and our services over the years to reflect the current needs in our community. Currently, we offer financial assistance for housing, so that's past due rent, eviction prevention, and for those folks that have been homeless to help with that security deposit, first month's rent to be able to get into a home. Last year, we were able to keep and/or put over 100 families in homes. We also offer life skills and budget coaching, savings matching, and resource referrals. 4 years ago, we added our Hope Homes program, which is our affordable housing. As affordable housing is still the biggest need that we see coming through our office daily. We began with one transitional living home 4 years ago, and now we have 10 living units. 6 of those are low rent, permanent relational housing, and 4 are transitional housing. Over the last year, our typical monthly average of financial requests for housing assistance ranged from $40,000 to $75,000 a month. However, since August, we have had over $100,000 in requests every month. This is not surprising based on the latest stats from Realtor.com, placing the cost of an average 2-bedroom apartment in Ottawa County at $1,765 a month. And currently, housing choice vouchers, or what have been known as Section 8, have been shut down and may not be available at all this year. The high cost of rentals has made our transitional housing program less successful than we had hoped. Even with subsidized rent for 2 years, most of our residents are still not able to afford market rent upon completion of our program. What we have seen great success in, however, is our long-term, low-rent relational housing. In this program, residents are able to stay in our units as long as needed, with 1-bedroom units at $600 a month and 2 to 3 bedroom units at $800 to $900. Through our housing program, we are not just addressing the high cost of rent, but also the loneliness and the isolation that so many of our clients experience. At our Lighthouse apartment complex, there is a community center where tenants can gather for parties, classes, and other activities. We've been very intentional about planning regular social events and inviting in partner churches, organizations, and volunteers to participate side by side with our tenants. We have been so pleased by the relationships that we see forming amongst the tenants with each other and with those coming in to participate. This is why we are so anxious to duplicate this kind of housing community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us here tonight. My name is Scott Sternberg, also with Doors of Hope, and we kind of heard from Terry what the need is. So as we started investigating how can we address that, we started looking at apartment buildings, different things through town. And what we quickly found was by purchasing an apartment building, we were simply displacing one group of people for another group of people. There's a lot of need for low-income housing. However, there's not a lot out there. So we didn't want to just shift people around. So we started to look at what could we do differently? What could we do to leverage the things that we as a nonprofit have, which is, commitment from our church partners, from our business partners, from construction people, from plumbers, electricians, who want to give back to this community. How can we leverage that into housing for our community? And that came down to either significant remodeling of something or building. So when this opportunity came up to look at this piece of property, after looking at several other properties within Ottawa County, we really feel like this is the property that we want to focus on because of where it's located, its access to different activities, different needs, jobs, resources, and we're excited about that. This project grew quickly for us, and that's because of just coming into some great partnerships. Being able to partner with Ottawa County and the Strategic Impact Homes. We're so excited to have their floor plans. They've just published those publicly, and so we're excited to actually get in the ground and start building those projects. We've just had great communication with different organizations, businesses who want to be part of this, and we want to bring that all together. So our project will be as we stated, 7 brand-new units, and those will be built in the small footprint concept. Some as small as 440 square feet, up to 2-bedroom, 2-bath. We have one more unit that exists currently in the big house that's on the corner. I know that you guys have all seen those pictures and stuff, so we love the way that big house looks up on the hill. We want to kind of maintain that look. We don't want it to become commercial, so the cottages around the big house became a really great way for us to do that. So we're super excited to move forward with that. In building these, we want to build a community. So we want to do that by having the community involved in building. We want to invite partners to come in and join us. We want to build a community where people are very proud to live. We want to build a community that we're able to demonstrate this is a way to build affordable housing that grants dignity to the families who live there, and that others would want to live in, even if they don't necessarily have low income. But we want to provide a product that is desirable for others, especially as it moves into other areas of the county where it's home ownership. Right now, always ours will be rental properties, because that is the need that Doors of Hope is coming at primarily. There's great organizations in town that are pushing home ownership. Love that. We hope that every one of our clients can start in one of our apartments or homes and then move into that home ownership. But we have seen with our clients, many of them are not ready yet for that home ownership. So this is another step, we hope, in their journey. So it's our hope that this project will provide a safe and secure place for our clients to grow as individuals and families, but more than just for our organization. Our hope is that this project will be an example of our city, county, churches, businesses, community workers, and members can all come together and show an example of how strategic, well-planned, out-of-the-box thinking can address Holland's affordable housing shortage in ways that are an asset to our community and become a shining star around it. So we were here a few months ago in a planning session, and we learned a lot. Appreciate all the input that we've had since then. We've been working with a number of the different city departments, from fire to transportation. So we have modified the plans a little bit. We're excited for that. We've done simple things like add a bike storage garage, which was one of the comments from this group. We shifted one of our houses forward to give more space for not only that bike garage, but a little bit more green space around our parking areas, just to make it feel more friendly and open. As we looked at some of the trees that have to come out to make room for the properties and what we needed to put back, we looked at ornamental trees and some things to bring that look to the property that it would have if it was still a single-family big home on the hill. And then we've added front sidewalks so that we have better access to the front of the building. And yeah, even did simple things like shifting one building a few feet one way or the other so that we can accommodate the fire regulations. So we appreciate all the support that this committee, but also the other organizations and departments within this city have given us during that time.
Thanks, Paul.
Good evening. Paul Sachs, Director of Strategic Impact for Ottawa County. Thank you for considering this development proposal. We're grateful to support Doors of Hope in their project. And you may have heard over the last several years, our department, in collaboration with the County Housing Commission, has been pursuing the small footprint home project. As we look at the ecosystem of housing, there's a myriad of strategies to help provide housing opportunities for those in need. And there's that one area that we saw a pragmatic opportunity is to elevate and bring up the importance and value and benefits of the smaller footprint home. Over time, the average size of a single family home has increased to an average of about 2,400 square feet. At the same time, family sizes have started to reduce. And a lot of this is driven by not only local zoning, but misconceptions of the general public. When we talk about a smaller footprint home, they don't quite understand what that is, what it looks like, how beautiful it can be, and functional and pragmatic, and really provide a product for those that are looking to be in a home and then work towards the potential of home ownership. The collaboration with Doors of Hope gives us a chance. As Scott mentioned, we just released our 16 variation design plans, and Doors of Hope taking a handful of those designs and activating them in the real world gives an amazing opportunity to showcase what these can look like to the general public. So we're grateful for that. So thank you.
Great, thank you.
You should be able to just use that clicker and scan through.
My name's Matt Daub. I'm a Hope College engineering student, and I'm also wrapping up an internship with the Department of Strategic Impact at Ottawa County. Let me just try to pull up our plans a minute.
Quite the internship.
It was a great experience.
That's great.
All right. So Doors of Hope is obviously utilizing the county developed plans, which were released open source last week at the Housing Commission meeting. We're excited that they're using these 4 different floor plans that we've developed with 16 distinct exterior kind of skins on them. And Doors of Hope is utilizing all what we call in-town context exteriors. So more dressed up, you'll see things like the rafter tails poking out under the roof eave. We also have the gable bracket on the front stoop, and details like the crown headstock on the windows and door openings. So things that give these homes a little more presence in an in-town setting and a certain dignity that is a great thing for the people that Doors of Hope serve. We're also excited that all of these materials that we've spec'd are lasting quality materials that we're insistent upon because we see these homes as fixtures of our communities, not things that expire in 20 years, but homes that are meant to be loved and have a certain longevity. Additionally, we're proud that Doors of Hope is picking up this product type because all of the work that we've done to provide these as open source plans allows for groups like Doors of Hope and an individual to pick up these plans and not pay architectural fees and have some barrier to entry to experience high quality architectural work. Not as a county employee, but just as a young professional and someone who's ready to graduate, I'd encourage you all to consider the merits of this project, not only as the great missional work that Doors of Hope will do, but also as a blueprint for the priority that the city of Holland places on affordability for young people who want to continue to live in this awesome city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Nick Rolinski. I'm a project representative for this Doors of Hope project. Also one of the technical personnel on the project with John Tempest from Driesinga. And because the speakers who have already gone before us did such a great job, there's not much more to say. We're here to answer questions, maybe talk through some of the considerations and feedback items that were sorted through over the past 6+ weeks. So maybe if we want to go back to the, there's an early page that shows the new layout, and we can just take a moment and look at that site plan and mention too, as we look at that one's okay, but if we can go back to, I think it's one of the earliest pages in the packet, it's that graphic, but it's colored. And it's also worth pointing out, using that colored graphic, that we have a landscape plan that also came from Ottawa County staff that uses native plant species and resilient landscape techniques as well. So this is the newer layout, as Scott mentioned, and you can see we've got the one driveway and curb cut that's utilizing the existing curb cut punching off of East 8th Street there, and then as we come up, there's some design objectives that we start to implement. One is that we we have this idea that fronts should face fronts and backs should face backs, and sides of buildings can be used with flexibility. So in this drawing, you can see kind of the boulder line weight in drawing the footprints represents a front or a side or some building element or building face that's going to have some social obligation to the street or to the driveway or to the public space. And so that's a technique that we use to just make sure that as we brought the small footprint designs into a real site, we knew based on where windows would be or canopies or other elements on the small footprint designs, how to orient them and where to use certain designs. And so that informed this layout to a certain extent. And so as you come up that driveway, that's happening, and and because of the way that those buildings are addressing that space, it's becoming more of a social amenity and a public space than if they were just kind of haphazardly dropped in. The driveway also serves for fire turnaround access, as well as our parking, as well as our ADA parking. As you can see to the south, on one of the MDR parcels, we are taking two of the largest, the Concept 4, which is 1,056 square feet, and actually combining them into a duplex, which is something that you can do on an MDR parcel anyway, but we're doing that to also pick up two more covered parking spaces and again kind of get at some of that variety in housing choice. So there's a greater diversity of unit type. Some units have covered parking, some units are parking in the parking area. With that, we will field questions. Steve, if you want to kind of introduce any of your talking points, and we can kind of talk through some of that.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant?
Quick one, looking at, the fronts are facing the new driveway. So the rear yard setback is how far on both of the ones, the neighbor to the
East, the right side?
Yeah. So on the east, 5 feet, and that's kind of utilizing the NMU 5-foot side yard setback, understanding, knowing that the corner house is still really the main house, the original historic house. And so by the time you get one house over to the east, you're no longer really behaving as a corner building, but you're into the block. And so we are, even though that's kind of the back of the house, we're still letting it behave like a side yard setback, which for NMU is 5 feet. On the south side, it's a 10-foot setback.
Good, Dave?
Well, yeah, it doesn't meet
Do you have your
code
mic?
for a backyard.
Do you have your mic on? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at some point, someone will have to address the fact that backyards are bigger than 5 feet.
Yes, for NMU, they are 25 feet for that setback, but this is a combination of NMU and MDR kind of on a site that is blending those together. And so that kind of traditional understanding of a backyard, whether it be a corner parcel or a mid-block parcel, is a little different because we're also clustering these together. Yep.
Question, is there a neighbor with a side yard that's 5 feet right behind that one, or what else is,
Their setback is greater than 5 feet, but there is a neighbor immediately to the east, yes. And that is zoned residential, but it's a non-residential use currently. It's a little office plex.
Yep, that is commercial, right? Any other questions from commission members?
If these were listed for sale, what do you think they would be listed at?
It's hard to throw numbers out there willy-nilly, but we feel like, and I'm going to pull the land cost out a little bit because we're obviously trying to gain affordability by combining them on one piece of, or 3 pieces of land. Our smallest 440 might be high 160s based on some calculations that we did as a part of the Ottawa County Small Footprint Project. We would have to dust those off a little bit because those were probably done in the summer. Our 2-bedroom, 2-bath might be kind of hovering at around 300. We are, as Matt mentioned, speccing in the drawings like an LP siding or equivalent. So right out of the gate, we're saying these aren't going to be vinyl clad. And we do that for a couple of reasons. One is that some of the trim elements don't play as nicely with vinyl because vinyl requires J channels. So if you want like a nice crown detail over a window, a J channel doesn't work as well with that. Another reason is repairability versus replaceability. If you have vinyl siding and a neighbor kid puts a golf ball through the vinyl siding, there's not a quick patch that can really blend in with the rest of the vinyl siding. It kind of has to come down and new vinyl siding has to go up. With LP, to a lesser extent, maybe hardy board, but also like real wood and equivalent products, there's an opportunity to make repairs along the way. We also think that's important when you're dealing with 7 structures that are all coming online at the exact same time. That means they would, if they were vinyl, all kind of look dingy at the exact same time. And so by using a slightly more expensive material, that opens up opportunities for more preventative maintenance as opposed to just waiting for vinyl to look like it's ready to be replaced. And then it doesn't all have to be replaced at the same time. And I'm going down that rabbit hole a little bit because that does affect those price points, but it's an intentional decision. We also benchmarked similar projects. One was in Grand Rapids. That was a Mel Trotter project, and they had kind of upgraded their exterior materials similarly, and we thought that looked really nice.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? No? Okay. Thank you very much. Steve's going to add his information.
Yeah, just a few things here. Thank you. Let me see if I can get to my slides. So you're being asked to do a few things tonight. So it's site plan approval, make a recommendation to City Council for the rezoning to PUD, approval of that PUD resolution, again, like the last project, a document that kind of puts into writing the plan that would be approved, a PUD waiver for the size of one of the homes. We'll talk about that, but that concept one drawing that you saw, 440 square feet. Our minimum is 500 for a detached unit. They're at 440. The Planning Commission, the approving authority, has the ability to approve a smaller size. And along with that, the width requirement of 22 feet. One of their dimensions is 20 feet. So you're being asked to approve that smaller home and that smaller width as well. And then finally, the approval to allow for the reduction in the amount of sidewalk that is on Waverly. So we'll talk about that in a second, but one of the things that you saw on the plan was the sidewalk on Waverly going essentially halfway up the hill. There's some reasons for that, we'll talk about that, but those are really the things that you're being asked to make a decision on tonight. So kind of the first thing to talk about, the PUD rezoning. The zoning out there now, as was mentioned already, this pink area is NMU, neighborhood mixed use, and then MDR, medium density residential. So again, as what was already mentioned, this is sort of a blending of those two zonings. The master plan that you see over there on the right-hand side really reflects that current zoning. I think the master plan designations are neighborhood commercial and urban residential, but those things really tie into that NMU and the MDR zoning district that it's already in. They're asking for this to be rezoned to PUD. I like to describe the PUD as a good tool in our toolbox. We don't use it all the time, and when we do, I think of it in terms of it isn't a blank check to just do whatever you want, but our underlying zoning and our master plan really provide that guidance for what we think might be reasonable. I know you've got all the criteria and the tables in your packet, but that's kind of how I sum up the use of the PUD rezoning technique. I think it is very appropriate here. This corner, as you know, is a tough spot. You're on a couple busy streets. You've got the hill going up Waverly. You've kind of got the hill also coming at you on Waverly, kind of coming in two directions. Busy, fast. This reminds me a little bit about the discussion that we had at 16th and Country Club, where we approved an apartment project out there. And one of the things that you approved was basically the elimination of the commercial use there, because that too wasn't fitting in just perfectly in the NMU zoning. And so we gave them that waiver as well. To me, this feels a little bit like that. And then in addition to the grading out there, then we're blending another zoning district in here. So long story to say, to me, the PUD makes a lot of sense in terms of the technique that allows them to go forward with the project. I know I put a lot of different tables in your packet. Sorry, I know the staff report is long. PUD rezoning does require a few things for you to look at. One of them first is that, are they eligible to, go through with the PUD rezoning? So I've tried to provide that criteria for you in that first table. They really just need to meet one of those. My estimation is they're really, meeting at least two of them, if not all three of them. And so that really just provides the ability for them to proceed with the PUD rezoning if you feel like they've met that. We are also putting this through what we call the conventional PUD category. That's important because one of the things that it also requires is a minimum density of 5 units to the acre. They're at about 5.9. So again, feeling like they meet that requirement as well. And then I gave you some of the information already about the house size. But let's just talk about the sidewalk on Waverly real quick. So the way that Udo is written, the standard is really that a project like this, that they would include the sidewalk on Waverly, on all of Waverly. And then like we do in other parts of Udo where we provide some flexibility, that you are able to use some discretion, again, provided that in that next table on in your packet, to kind of evaluate the if that's needed or not. So the recommendation and the site plan that you have in front of you really provides that sidewalk for that first. It's about 140 feet, which kind of lines up with where the NMU and the MDR zoning district change. One of the thoughts of not requiring that sidewalk on the rest of Waverly is there is no other sidewalk on Waverly until you get to 16th Street. So there isn't just a small gap that we're trying to fill here. The city doesn't have a plan to do that sidewalk in the near or short term. And again, there's a couple grades there. Kind of have the grade going down Waverly, you have the grade coming at Waverly. One of the thoughts was if you ran that sidewalk all the way to the property line, it's very possible that they would have to build some infrastructure, retaining walls, the sidewalk itself, and that when we came along to do that sidewalk, some of it could have to be removed. And so part of the thought was, rather than do that, let them stop the sidewalk short of that. And then when and if that sidewalk ever comes down Waverly, it would be a little bit easier to connect to and not have to possibly remove any existing infrastructure. But again, you've got that in your packet, and tried to provide some comments to you about how staff came up with that recommendation as well. Probably important to point out that nothing in that would prohibit, again, the city from doing that, and if there was assessments for installing sidewalk in the future, all of that would be normal practice, and this property would be included in something like that as well. Make sure I want to cover everything else. Again, you've got a couple other tables in your packet talking about the PUD rezoning criteria. Staff is very comfortable with recommendation to rezone this to PUD for this project. One of the benefits that you get with the rezoning to PUD, rather than the straight rezoning technique, we know what we're buying, so to speak. This is the plan that you would be approving. As we saw in the previous project tonight, if they wanted to make a change in the future, they would have to come back to you. So the recommendation is to approve the site plan recommendation to city council to rezone it to PUD, and along with that approval of the site plan comes with it the smaller house size for that concept 1 building and the reduced sidewalk on Waverly. I think that's everything I wanted to cover.
Clear as mud.
Clear as mud.
Yep, got it. Does anybody have any questions for Steve on all of that information on the site plan review, the rezoning, and the waiver? No? Okay. At this time, we will open a public hearing on this item. If anybody would like to come forward, they can do so now. No? Okay, I will close the public hearing. Discussion, motions, comments from commission members?
This is a great project. It's very well done. I think this will be a lasting project that will benefit the community, so nice work.
And thanks to the homeowners,
Yes.
the landowners too, yeah.
I really want to commend Ottawa County and the Strategic Department for putting this together and offering open source floor plans too. So hopefully this will be a great demonstration model that others can see and developers can utilize. That I think that alone will really reduce the cost, so thanks for that.
Yeah, any other comments?
Not surprisingly, I have a lot to say. Kudos, thank you all. Impressive, really impressive. Bob, Peggy, thank you. Known you guys for a long time, not surprised how generous you're being with this. I was in your office, Bob, one time. That is an odd lot. This is an odd space. It just is. Affordable housing has been a high priority, if not the highest priority of council as long as I have been on council, and focus has always been on ownership. We think that home ownership is better for folks than rental. This project's different. It just is. It's different in a lot of ways. You guys are building affordable houses, but you're not building cheap houses. You're not. You know, when Nick, when you talk about smart siding, and I actually, while you guys were talking, I pulled down one of the plans with one of these and started looking at it, and I see references to, you know, to FIPON and to, you know, the different types of trim work that you're looking at it, and I'm like, that is not cheap stuff. And when you talk about looking at this as being a long-term neighborhood, I started thinking, you know, you're looking at building and constructing in traditional building methods that are designed not to last for 10, 15, 20 years, but 50, 60, 80, 100 years. Looking at building neighborhoods in the city of Holland the way neighborhoods used to be built in the city of Holland. That's important. That's important stuff. These are homes, traditional neighborhoods for people in the city of Holland. But this is an experiment. This is different. It is. I'm not sure how many people are going to buy into this. I'm curious. I am really, really curious who's going to be interested in doing this. I'm not saying there isn't going to be anybody there. I'm really curious. I'm really interested in seeing how well this is going to work. Who else is going to be interested in jumping in? I think the plans that Ottawa County has come up with are really cool looking plans. I am hoping that that is incredibly successful. I'm really excited about the fact that you're making them public. I'm really excited about the fact that all I had to do was enter in my email and my address, and in 2 minutes one of them was sitting in my inbox. Even though I didn't fill out the form the right way the first time, I was able to correct that and get it in there in 2 minutes. Yeah, I am really excited about this, and honestly, the planned unit development tool that we have, if it was not designed for a project like this, I don't know what it was designed for. Honestly, I don't. This is a weird lot in a weird place with a different kind of project that's really kind of experimental with something new but old. I'm all for it. I think this is a great experiment with people who are willing to try something different, willing to go out on a limb, people who are willing to take a chance on something that is a high priority for Holland City Council. Thank you. As I said at the beginning, kudos to all of you for putting in the time and the hard work. And wow, what an internship. If they're not already knocking on your door, boy, you got a bright future in front of you. You're gonna be doing really well. I said it last time you were here. Amazing, amazing work. Congratulations. Great job.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. If nobody else has anything to say, I got a couple of motions I'd like to make, so.
Unless anyone else would like to make a motion. We will do them separate, we'll have to do them separately, but.
Yeah, I was gonna
yes.
do two separate ones.
Okay, do we have to do 3 with the waiver, or does that just get attached to the
I think
site-
you can do
Got
the waiver and the site plans together, but it would be nice to have maybe the rezoning as the separate
Correct.
motion, if that's what you were
Yep.
thinking.
Yep, okay.
So first motion would be, I would make the motion that we recommend a positive recommendation to City Council for the rezoning to PUD for the Hope Ridge project as presented.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, okay.
All right. And then I would also like to make a motion that we approve the site plan and PUD resolution that includes the staff comments and conditions with the added condition that City Council also approves the rezoning. This approval includes the housing size width waivers and the agreement for the reduced sidewalk on Waverly Road.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Great. So much work, so many people involved, and pat yourselves on the back. So, yeah. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
All right. Next item, admin review updates.
So this is our twice-a-year update. Right, here we are. So there's only 3. So these are the projects that have gone through the administrative site plan approval process. So the site plans that you don't see, they don't come here, they stay at the staff level. This first one, 621 Heritage Court, just a small car retail sales business. Nothing too exciting. Under construction. 1102 Lincoln, so west side of Lincoln, south of 31. You can kind of see Russ is on the map there. HVAC contractor. So I think what they are planning to do here is occupy one of these suites, and then they'll have a couple others available, probably to some other contractors. Maybe the only other thing to note on this one, this project was in the airport overlay, so had to go through their approval as well. And finally, Hope College. Hope College is doing a small batting cage over by their athletic facility. So we drug them through the site plan approval process. So you can see the new building there on the north side of this site plan. This parking is essentially there, but they're improving it, paving it for their facility. So those are the admin updates.
Thanks, Steve.
More to come.
Yes, that's exciting.
That's all I
All
have
right,
for you.
you got it wrapped up. Communications and petitions, scheduling of public hearings. There are none. Communications from commission members? Nope. Happy New Year.
Just a reminder, joint meeting, February 24th.
Communications from staff?
Sorry.
Yep, there you go.
February 24th. In this room,
February 24.
February 24th. You'll
Okay.
get some reminders, but I just thought I'd take this opportunity
To keep nudging.
to keep nudging.
Got it.
Topic this year is economic development.
Wonderful. Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Any opposed?